D&D is a game filled with wondrous magic that can do pretty much anything your mind can think of. However, due to the sheer amount of spells, there are a large amount of them that just frequently go unused throughout entire campaigns. Now, this may be due to the nature of tabletop games where many people feel that more damage equals more fun, or it could be as simple as, third level gives me fireball, which means why would I choose anything else? And that alone might frustrate you. But I do have a couple of spells in mind that might interest you. So that's why today we're going over 5 underrated spells in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Hey everybody, welcome back to Beholder's Crit. My name is Lee and I'm going to take you through today's video. Just so you know, I did try to give it a range of spells, so it's not just 5 random damage spells because, let's be real, the first thing people look at whenever they level up or get a new spell slot is the damaging spells anyways. Not to say I didn't use damage spells in this list, but I tried to specifically steer away from them since they're the ones that most people generally pick anyways. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump on into it. The first spell we're going to be covering is one of my personal favorites, and that would be the 4th level transmutation spell, Guardian of Nature. This spell, simple enough, is a bonus action that you can cast on yourself to grant a variety of benefits and bonuses by transforming into a new form. You can choose either the Primal Beast form or the Great Tree form. These both offer slightly different benefits, but to start off with the Primal Beast, you gain a 10-foot walking speed increase, you gain dark vision out to 120 feet, you make strength-based attack rolls with advantage, and your melee weapon deals an extra d6 of force damage. The Great Tree form, on the other hand, grants you 10 temporary hit points, advantage on con saves, advantage on dex and wisdom-based attack rolls, and the ground around you within 15 feet becomes difficult terrain. Now obviously, that is a very wide range of bonuses it provides, and you can only choose one of the 2 transformations. Anyways, the reason I think this spell is underrated is specifically because 1, it requires concentration, and 2, because it is a 4th level spell. The only real negative of this spell is that it requires concentration to maintain. But honestly, if you're using the Great Tree form, it really kind of offsets that negativity because the Great Tree form makes concentration checks that are technically con saves with advantage because of the Great Tree form, so it kind of supports itself there. As for the Primal Beast form, you're kinda out of luck. As far as the spell level is concerned, allow me to elaborate. Some other popular 4th level spells are things like Blight, Hallucinatory Terrain, Greater Invisibility, and Wall of Fire, and arguably the most popular spell in the entire game of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, Polymorph. Now you might be asking, why would you choose Guardian of Nature over the other spells? What makes this one so damn special? To be honest, nothing at all is special about this spell. This video is not meant to convince you to take other spells, rather it's here to give you interesting other options. It doesn't do crazy damage like Blight, it doesn't have incredible utility like Greater Invisibility, it's just mediocre in terms of a 4th level spell. So why do I have it in the video? Well, where I find this spell shines is particularly with a druid, or specifically a moon druid. Simply cast Guardian of Nature on yourself, wild shape into a beast, and now you gain the benefits of Guardian of Nature on top of your new beast form. And the reason I specifically mention moon druids is because they're allowed to shapeshift into stronger beasts, therefore making your spell combination stronger. And before you say, wait a minute, your transforming would negate the transformation of Guardian of Nature, I've had 2 responses to that. 1, why do you hate fun? What is so fun about hating fun? What is wrong with it? Like, the only thing worse than hating fun is if you weren't subscribed, and we're all subscribed, right? And 2, Jeremy Crawford actually tweeted about it and confirmed that it works, so nah. We now move on to number 2, and that's the spell that everybody has been waiting for, the damage spell. But don't get too excited, it does do damage, but it is not flashy, okay? And that would be the 1st level transmutation spell, Zephyr Strike. Told you it wasn't great. But what this spell lacks in grandeur, it actually makes up in raw combat effectiveness. Zephyr Strike allows the caster to move like the wind and not provoke attack of opportunities with their movement. Also, once during their entire minute duration of this spell, you can increase your movement speed by 30 feet and give yourself advantage on 1 weapon attack and deal an extra d8 damage to that target. So essentially, this spell is about not provoking opportunity attacks with your movement, and you also get a nice bonus to your movement and attack once per minute. What? You didn't think that was that great? I mean, it's not crazy. I guess it's okay, but... Alright, fine, we'll move on to the next one. What do you mean? You didn't even tell them the best part. What are you doing? Doesn't matter, I'll take over from here. Get the hell out of here. Hey everybody, just stereotypical edgy rogue here to fill in all the details that loser left out. You see this? You see that right there? What's that? You can't read because you're a little baby? Oh, here, let me spell it out for you. B-O-ness action. That's right, this SOB allows you to cast a spell and make an attack in the same turn. bananas, I know. But wait, there's more! If you're stupid enough to find yourself in melee with an enemy, just simply cast Zephyr Strike, move on out of the way without provoking an attack of opportunity, and then activate Zephyr Strike for an extra 30 feet of movement away from that enemy to get the f*** out of dodge, and then shoot that boy right in the ass next week with that extra D8 damage. And that's Zephyr Strike. Don't listen to the negativity, only listen to the inner edgy rogue. Hey, come on back and finish your video. Okay, thanks. Yeah, whatever. Okay, moving on. Don't fuck it up this time. Okay, so moving on to our third spell, we have a slightly less exciting spell, comparatively, but underrated nonetheless. Oh boy, I can't wait. Anyways, that would be the second level Abjuration spell, Aid. Now, I know Aid is like the quintessential support spell in D&D, but I still feel like many people don't fully understand just how helpful this spell can be, and I'm here to hopefully help aid that. Aid costs an action and allows you to choose up to 3 target creatures within 30 feet and grant them 5 temporary hit points. Now, how temporary hit points work in D&D is when you gain them, you also increase your current hit points. So Aid is essentially a party heal in one action. To put that into perspective, the first large-scale multi-heal you get access to is Prayer of Healing at 2nd level, I believe, and it takes an entire 10 minutes to cast and only heals 2d8 plus your spellcasting modifier, and it's impossible to pull off during combat just simply because of the casting time. The first actual combat party healing spell that you can possibly pick up is Mass Healing Word, but that's a 3rd level, and it costs a bonus action, but it only heals 1d4 plus your spellcasting modifier. Meaning that while it would technically heal more than Aid, it would still cost a higher spell slot to use, and it's not even healing that much more. Granted, Mass Healing Word can target up to 6 targets, but it's still only healing a d4 plus your spellcasting mod. And Aid can be improved if you actually upcast it to the 3rd level that Mass Healing Word is. It increases the temporary hit points by an additional 5, meaning you heal 10, meaning you're healing more than your Mass Healing Word would do to those 3 targets. Again, Mass Healing Word does 6, but even still, generally parties are about 4 members anyway, so realistically, Aid works just as well. Aid is an incredibly versatile spell, and honestly, I believe it's underrated in the sense that most people likely didn't understand just how usable it was in combat. Just the option to have a party-wide heal in combat is just so incredibly helpful, particularly at low levels like this, and it can be clutch in a difficult situation. So yeah, next time you're looking for a versatile healing spell, put away the Healing Word and pull out the good old Band-Aid. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to number 4. This spell is another one of my personal favorites, being the sneaky espionage kind of spell in the wheelhouse, but that would be the 4th level divination spell, Arcane Eye. This spell creates an invisible arcane magical eye within 30 feet of you that allows you to see through the eye with dark vision out to 30 feet. The eye is concentration, lasts for an hour, and it is an action to move up to 30 feet with the eye. However, in the spell, it does specifically state that there is no actual limit to how far the eye can be from the caster. So you could actually cast this spell, head back to your home, then use the remainder of whatever time you have left to wander whatever place you want to investigate with your invisible eye. In one of my campaigns, you may have seen it, Behold this Westmart. Check it out on youtube.com/beholdthescrit. I actually used this spell at a suspicious individual's house, jumped in the car after our initial questioning of said individual, and the entire car ride away from there, I was using the eye and relaying information to my party during that entire time. The only real downside to the spell is that 1, you can't hear anything through it, and 2, solid walls stop it, but it is able to pass through gaps about 1 inch wide. And since the eye is invisible, it is near impossible to detect unless somebody had a reason to suspect something of going on, in which case, realistically speaking, you're probably investigating the right place anyways. Now, the real reason I think this spell is underrated is specifically the same exact reason that I thought Guardian of Nature was underrated. It is a 4th level spell, and if we've looked at the spell book, 4th level spells have some pretty damn good spells. And if you haven't noticed, this spell is a little bit niche in terms of what you're using it for. But if you are playing more of a espionage-esque kind of stealthy campaign, this spell is arguably one of the best. So while the spell isn't ridiculously strong or weak, it's often overshadowed by other spells in the 4th level slot, just simply because of their other versatility and uses. But that's going to cover our sneaky spell for the video. Let's go ahead and finish it off with another exciting one, and that's going to be the 7th level evocation spell, Crown of Stars. Now, this spell is a bit of a rarity just simply because not many people get to levels where they can cast 7th level spells, and if they do, they're generally not going to take this spell because there are other great ones in there, and even if you get to higher levels, you get so few 7th level spells, generally this one is very overlooked. But this spell is one of those you spend time now and you do more damage later kind of spell. You you can use your action to create 7 motes of light that will orbit around your head like a crown of stars, and they last for an hour. You can then spend your bonus action to send one of those motes with a ranged spell attack up to a creature within 120 feet and deal 4d12 radiant damage. Yeah, not only does this spell give you an excuse to use those seldom used d12s that no one ever uses except for barbarians, but it also allows you to weaponize your bonus action. Being able to weaponize your bonus action is generally something reserved for martial classes, but this spell allows you to do pretty much the same thing at the cost of 1 action and a 7th level spell. After the initial cast of the spell, you can realistically cast another high level spell, like Finger of Death, and then use your bonus action to send another mote of light, dealing an additional 4d12 damage since you're not technically casting another spell on your turn. On average, each mote will deal 24 damage on a hit, meaning that if you hit all the motes, you can deal a whopping 168 damage, or upwards of 250, or maxing out at 336 if you roll impossibly all 12s. And just to kind of clarify the damage difference there, I believe Finger of Death gives you 7d8 plus 30 necrotic damage, which is nowhere near the average of 168 damage you'll probably do with the Crown of Stars. So keep that in mind. Hopefully I have fully exemplified the power of the spell, however I do need to state that its weakness is the fact that it is a 7th level spell. And being a 7th level spell, it's in competition with other spells like Firestorm, Finger of Death, Mordekainen's Magnificent Mansion, or Teleport for a slot. And since you only ever at max level get access to 2 7th level slots, it's very seldom used because of that. However, if you are going into a fight and you know that combat is likely on the table, this spell is incredibly useful at dealing additional damage. Just be prepared that you won't have your get out of jail free card with your teleport, since your 7th level slot will most likely be taken up by Crown of Stars. Difficult decisions, but good luck and Godspeed. But those are 5 underrated spells in D&D 5e. If you like the content, I do have one other video similar to this that I've posted, and then it's in the description box below for you to check out. Also, I would love to hear what kind of spells you think are underrated. I almost always reply to the comments, and most likely I'll probably use them in my next video. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you on Friday.